When I was getting questioned by detectives about a string of robberies, it took me about 7 minutes, 45 seconds, 2 beefy milk burritos, and a Newport 100 to tell on my best friend. But before you hop in the comment section and call me a snitch, take a couple minutes to watch the whole video and then let me know what you really would have done. So the year was 2018. This is 4 months after I got released from the penitentiary from my first case being 2 aggravated burglaries. If you don't believe me, look up my name on tn.gov. Now, what the criminal justice system does is after you get released from the penitentiary, oftentimes you'll be on parole. Parole is kind of like probation, only it's after your sentence. So when you're on parole, you got a few rules you have to follow. So I'd just been released from my unfortunate incarceration, and I had to get a job, and I had to pay them. Like 99.9% of people after incarceration, I was broke, and I didn't live on the bus line, and I sure didn't have a car. So what did I do? I did what about 87% of felons in this country end up doing. I committed crimes again. Why? Because when you're stuck in the revolving door of the criminal justice system, your mind state gets skewed. And I thought, man, I'm a felon anyway. I can't find a job. I don't have transportation. I'm going to end up going back anyway for these stupid things. I might as well try to run a bag up. Now, keep in mind, I was very young. I was about 22 when this happened, and my mindset has changed since then. Now I'm living a straight and narrow life. I promise. So one day I end up calling my buddy and I tell him my situation. I say, look, bro, I just got out. I'm broke. I got to touch some bread. I'm about to go crazy. He's like, look, I got you. Now, a little fun fact about me, strong arm robbery was never really my thing because for one, I'm not scary. For two, I just don't like the violence. So when he told me this idea, I didn't know what to think. He said he had known somebody with some peace. He peeped the structure and everything was all good. It was going to be an easy thing. I thought about it for a couple of nights and then eventually I called him back. I said, let's run it. So tonight's the night. I am so nervous. I haven't done crime in a very long time, but I was really desperate, y'all. So I said, all right, come on, come get me. He came and got me and then we were on the way. As we're driving up there, he's puffing on a doink and he tries to pass it to me. I'm like, no, I'm on parole. I can't do that. He's like, but you can do this. And I was like, this ain't about me. So inevitably, we pull up there. We do what we got to do and we get what we wanted. And everything went great. So I thought. So 11 days later, I got a few $1,000s. I got some work I'm working with, but I'm so paranoid about the parole and getting caught. But my radical ideology of I had no other option just kept replaying in my head to justify my actions. It wasn't but 3 days after that, so 2 weeks from when we did this, that I get a call from my homeboy's cousin that he had been brutally murdered while gambling. And it had nothing to do with our situation, but I still feel really bad about it. I still feel bad about it to this day because that was my dog. And it wasn't but 4 days after that, I show up to my parole office for a parole visit. Now, this is where things get crazy. So I'm sitting in the lobby of my parole office, and I'm nervous as usual. Even when I hadn't done anything wrong, it's just like a really demoralizing and very nerve-wracking experience. If you know, you know. So I'm sitting in the lobby, I'm waiting, I'm vibing, and then eventually my name calls, and I walk back there. Now, I go and I sit across from my parole officer. He's talking to me, but usually it's in and out. I can kind of tell he's stalling, and then this is the sentence that he said to make me know what was really going on. So he's sitting at his desk, and it's at an angle where I can kind of see it, and he checks the cameras to the lobby. There's nobody in the lobby. The lobby is a ghost town. He's like, well, there's no one waiting, so we finally got a chance to talk for a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do. It wasn't about 15 seconds of awkward small talk after that I hear some shuffling to my right, and then I see 2 Gallatin police officers. You see, what they had done is called an ambush, and they were like, look, man, you got nowhere to run. We need you to come with us. I'm like, come with y'all for what? Like my pee was clean. Like what y'all got going on? He's like, just, no, you got to come with us. So my hands were essentially tied, and then they were literally cuffed, and I was like, screw it, let's go. So we get to the station. Now, when we get to the station, we do a little small talk. Hey, how was your day? How's the kids? How's the family? Long time no see. Glad to see you out. Okay, let's get down to business. So they say about 3 weeks ago, there was a robbery in East Nashville, and an anonymous tip had said I was involved. I was like, that's crazy. And then they said, look, we already got plenty to arrest you, but I knew they were lying because they wouldn't even be talking to me if they had plenty to arrest me, but I decided to feed into it a little bit. So they were pretty much like, look, we're here to help you. If you help us help you, we're going to work something out with you on the back end. And I knew that was cap. But I was a little hungry, so I was like, fine, look, run to the store, get me 2 beefy milk burritos, a Baja Blast, and a Newport 100. I'll tell you everything. So I'm sitting there munching on my food, and then they start prying at me again. They're really being annoying. They're like, all right, time to talk. And I'm like, well, I don't want to. And they're like, you gotta. And I was like, fine. I put my food down, and I just break down in tears. Now, the tears were real because I was still grieving my friend who was just unalive, but then I said, he did everything. So after a few pats on the back and a couple hugs, they actually let me go home. And do I feel wrong about it? No. And I make this video to say this. If you're ever getting questioned about some bodies or some robberies or something and I'm gone, tell them it was me. They can't extradite me from where I'm at.